It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
Hello, model citizens. Welcome to Humanity Junction. Tonight, I thought we'd talk a little bit about something that I'm very good at, and that's making things complicated. But I'm kind of curious your thoughts as well. Is model railroading inherently a complicated hobby? Or is it just that some people, like me, for example, make it more complicated than it needs to be? So I thought that would be tonight's conversation, and I've got stuff to share, stuff to show, so I thought we'd just kind of, jump in and see where we get from there. I do want to mention I have an exciting weekend coming up. The Northeast Region Convention is hosted by the Sunrise Trails Division is this weekend, and I get to go operate on 6 layouts. I've been to 3 of them before, but every time you go, things are always a little bit different, but that's the list of where I'll be and what I'll be. So if you're watching this and you're going to be at the NER, I'm going to try and make it to the hotel for the events, but my main goal is to go and get some operation sessions in. People say, no, it's not complicated, it's all me. Jub says it's not complicated. You can make it as simple, as complicated as you like. And that is, I guess, the heart of all of it, right? I mean, it's all kind of what you make of it. It can be difficult, it can be easy. I'm going to show you something that I'm doing in a couple minutes, and we can get into some of this stuff back here. But I've been making some decent progress. I don't know if I'm working smarter. I am definitely just making a lot more work for myself, which might be it. I'm not in a different room, but if you haven't been around for a little bit, things have changed a lot. The layout's kind of coming together behind me. This is the new Riverside 2.0. The lighting is just the floodlights. I can set them to whatever color I want. Alexa, set floodlights to dark blue. I apologize to anybody that's got an Alexa, but yeah, it's there we go. That makes it look a little more is that a little better? So yeah, I may need to turn some lights on to see some things later, but yeah, it's all in the lighting. It's all magic, smoke and mirrors. Nothing's real. Yes, to get this, you do need a little bit of complication in your life. I do need to take a minute though and acknowledge a milestone that I hit thanks to all of you. I haven't talked much about subscribers since I passed 1,000 subs. That at the time was a big milestone because that's when you could get monetized and there was some live streaming stuff and whatever. A lot of those requirements have changed, but yeah, 1,000 was a big milestone. And then it was kind of like 2,000, whatever. I was kind of like, you know what? I wanted to go for 2,500. So I'm happy to say I finally hit 2,500 subs. The second 1,000 took significantly longer than the first 1,000. I think that's kind of because I've been doing a lot more live streams, and I love the live streams because the live streams, you know, I get to chat with you, I get to interact with everybody. So everyone go over to Mini Prince and unsub from Mini Prince and then come back here and let me know how it got. No, I love the live streams because you get to interact with people, but kind of the way YouTube works, it doesn't grow as much. But yeah, so I crossed 2,500 subscribers, so the next goal is, of course, 50,000 subscribers. No, not really, but it was just kind of a good milestone, so I did just want to say thank you to everybody and just give a little special thank you because I keep forgetting to do this earlier in the show to the people that have gone and just taken a little bit of an extra step. Go check out some of the sponsors. They have good deals. I really like the companies that are supporting not just my channel, but also other channels in the community. So support my sponsors, other people's sponsors, support the community.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
So that was the non-complicated stuff. Let's jump right into the complicated stuff. I've only gotten 8 minutes in, but we're just going to keep plowing on. If I run out of stuff to talk about, it's going to be what it's going to be. But switch machines. I spent a while trying to figure out exactly how I wanted to deal with the switch machines and the wiring. One thing that I realized on my previous layout was that when you start adding turnouts and feedback and detection and I'm sure we'll come up with something if I run out of stuff. But once you start adding all of these wires to your layout, things get complicated pretty quickly. And I'm being asked, do I have a layout? I'm in the process of building a layout. You can see this is the main yard right here. If we go back over here though, you can see this whole thing right here. It's coming together. I do actually have turnout motors in on this side. But it's being built. It's in progress. So I'm working on stuff. But yeah, so turnout motors. Oh, I just hit a button on a keyboard and it just started messing stuff up. What did I do? Turnout motors can be, they add a lot of wires. This setup right here has 5 wires alone. Then you have detection and stuff and feeders and all kinds of stuff. And I wanted to make sure that as I started wiring the layout, that I was going to be able to keep track of everything. Did you make the room bigger or did you get rid of the hobby shop? No, it's all still there. Alexa, set floodlights to cool white. The hobby shop is all back up under here. I'm keeping it covered because I'm still doing a lot of drilling, a lot of sanding, a lot of stuff that's putting a bunch of dust in the air. So it's still kind of covered up. Weird, I had no chat for a while. We did that on purpose. We were trying to keep you in the dark, trying to make you think you weren't around. I still have some multi-scale stuff. You can't see it in any of these shots because it's up within the plastic, but I do still have the O scale and G scale loop set up. What I'm building right now is a N scale layout. There is one spot where I might put some Z scale, but it's primarily N scale. I do also have some HO stuff, but I don't think there's going to be much of that set up, but I may try and take that. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, I just noticed Roy Eltham gifted 10 Humanity Junction memberships. There we go. I hope some people were able to grab those. I missed, I apologize, I missed seeing that come through, but thank you, Roy, for doing that. Whatever I've done, it makes it look bigger. There's just less stuff in it. So I came up with a wiring scheme. I knew that I wanted to use red and black for DCC. I chose to use blue and white for feedback. And of course, you have to make all your frog wires green. So that gave me 5 wires for all of my turnouts. And one thing that you're looking at here is this little wiring harness. And this is the part that I don't know if I'm overcomplicating things. When you get a one of these Cobalt digital IPs or most of these types of turnout motors, they don't come with any wires. You just have to connect all the wires right to it. And my thought was, well, how can I keep things somewhat neat and somewhat organized? And what happens if I ever have to swap out a switch motor and, all kinds of stuff? And I said, I'm going to try and do something to try and make my life easier. As we talked about, I don't know if it's actually working or not, but what I did do, and I'm trying to open up a camera app on my phone so I can come over to a different spot. If you got here early enough, there is a video that I did that came out recently. I think it was called like Success or something like that. And it showed how I got the turnout motors hooked up and how I got them wired. So what I decided to do by adding this harness is that it allowed me to basically come over here now, and I added the other part of the harness in here, so I can just come and plug the switch motor in. So my thought now is, anywhere that I go on the layout, I can just wire in this connector, which I do have it go back to these lever nuts, and I've got the LEDs installed and everything, and it all comes back to here, and I can then pull out and easily swap the turnout motor if needed. And I guess the good part is does it still work? I can still go here, and I can, if you look at this little box right here, the 1 is not checked. There's nothing in the checkbox there. But if I run the switch motor, it'll switch, and now there's a little checkbox here. So that's the feedback that is working. And if we go back to the camera so you can actually see it, you can see there's the green LED that's on, and if I switch it, you can see the yellow LED switches. So it works. It all works fantastically. Dennis from Otter Creek is asking if I saw these switch motors that Luke Towan's using. They're out there. They're pretty popular amongst some things. I got a bunch of them because there are some areas on my layout that are that I needed a smaller profile. I like the Cobalt digital IPs because they have the DCC decoder built into it. So everything is built into this. It's got the single pole double throw switches. It's got a spot for the frog wire and everything already built into it. These MP5s by MTB also have a spot for frog wires and to hook up LEDs and stuff, but there's no decoder inside of this, so you kind of lose some of that functionality. But where they lose some of the built-in functionality, they definitely make up for it in their small size. And I bet you I know what Dennis is asking, right? Where did I get them from? I got them from the US distributor. Where else would you get them from? If you guys don't know, there's a gentleman named Seth Newman. He lives out in California. He has a store called Model Railroad Control Systems, and he sells a bunch of various different things. For example, he sells some of the John Plocker design things. I hope I said John's last name correctly. But you can get here. Let's put these here. They'll be easier to see there. But these are DCC flagmen kits. You basically build up these little people, and what you can do is put them on your track, and you can use them to either test your track, or you can use them if you need to set off the occupancy detector on your track because you're trying to block off that track. You can use these little men for that as well. In addition to stuff like that, he sells these, which I got because I don't know if I want to get into signaling. But here's the guy's name, John Plocker. But I bought these from Seth Newman along with the turnout motors. But this is a cheap way to get into signaling. These signals are, I think, like $2 a piece or something like that. So they're pretty cheap as far as that goes. And you can kind of figure out where you want your signaling at a lower cost. They obviously red, yellow, green, 3 LEDs and whatnot. So I got these as well. So yeah, Seth Newman, Model Railroad Control Systems. That's the US distributor of the MTB switch machines and a bunch of other really cool stuff as well. I want my MTV, I do too. Yeah, if you're using LCC or what I'm going to use for, I've got 8 of these MTBs, and I have a DigiKeys DR4018, which can directly power these, so I will use the DR4018 with the MTB turnout motor. So I actually have 8 total of those. Artie, when it comes to rain and lightning, I don't know what we're talking about there. But anyway, Jeb says, what software are you using to control everything? So I've got a couple different things going on, and give me a second to get through some of these other questions, and I'm going to attempt to, in addition to controlling them with the software I just showed you, I'm going to attempt to use JMRI to control that turnout motor as well. But the software that I'm using, this software here, the command station that I use, it was a DigiKeys DR5000. I'm now have it converted to a YAMORC, which is yet another model railroad company. They have their own control software that you can go in here and you can, you know, check your boosters that are connected. You can look at all, you know, everything that's on your LocoNet bus, and all that stuff is the software built into the command station. And all of this can also be controlled with JMRI, and we are going to we're going to get to that in 1 second. Yeah, Thomas, I am looking for another 6 Cobalt. I want to buy another 6-pack. They're out of stock as well. Don't, you know, it's fine. Andy's commenting on my tape, label tape. The label maker that I have can hook up to the computer. I don't hook it up to the computer, but you could. Can you use them as a signalman too? Yes. So that's probably the intended reason for these, is they make them in blue and red. So you can use the blue one as your signalman behind the train, or they have the red ones. And when you put them on the track, obviously they'll trigger your occupancy detection. So if you are or want to use signalmen on your layout, these little DCC flagmen, it even says DCC flagman and track power tester. So they can be used for a lot of that stuff as well. Dennis asks, are they reasonably priced? They're priced in line with everything else. So at the end of the day, a lot of it comes down to you know, what works for you. What's kind of nice about these is, you know, the lever just goes back and forth, as opposed to like a lot of the other switch motors, which does this kind of like X pattern thing. So that's, you know, they're priced the same as a lot of other things. Did you release it, an LCC servo driver? I didn't know you released it, Mike. Heath, how complicated can I make this, and how many different programs try? So the I'm actually not. So this is no more. Thanks, keeping me broke. This is no more complicated than a lot of the layouts that I operate on in this area, at least. It is more complicated. If you're building a rail fanning layout, what I am doing is more complicated than what a lot of people will do on a rail fanning layout. If you're building a layout for operations, I may be adding a few extra detection zones than I need to, but a lot of what I'm doing is pretty sort of standard kind of stuff. Should we try? So I think the thing to try is to I'm going to try and see if I can't control this turnout motor with JMRI. So let me try and log into JMRI. See, I mean, I guess that's the, nope, that's the wrong thing. That's the first thing to try, is getting into JMRI. And we're gonna come Give me one sec. Type in my password, apparently. There we go. So here is the JMRI instance that's currently running. It looks like it's showing that the track power is off, but it's actually not off. So what I'm going to try and do, we're going to quit out of this, and we'll reopen it, because I may have, for some reason, if you turn off the command station and turn it back on, it doesn't auto reconnect. And I don't really understand. I don't understand why. Yeah, if you're doing both, you're gonna have to do a lot of this stuff. Someone could write a program to make one machine randomly stop working just to make things more complicated. I don't think you need to write a program to do that. I think that's just what it's doing. I'm not Bluetooth controlling anything. I'm using DCC. I'm using LocoNet. I'm using S88. I'm using MQTT is what I'm using, which is a Wi-Fi protocol. So, yeah, that's just what we need. I'm gonna keep an eye on Andy next time he comes in here. All right, so I need to go. I can't see. This computer is in a bad spot for me to see this. So I'm loading. Let's load this table. I've got a lot of different versions because, and I'm not seeing the one I want. This is the one I want. I've been messing around with this a bunch, trying to figure out like how I actually want to have things work. And some of it's hooked up, some of it's not hooked up, but let's see. If we go to this now, so you can see maybe you can see the LED lights right there. What I'm doing is I am right now just trying something very simple. And I'm just using the on-off button on the Y throttle server here, and just turning it on and off. And I wish I should have set up split screen, because that would have helped. But it's just turning that LED on and off. So that's the thing I usually do first. Kind of helps me figure out if I have control over the command station or not. And the good news is it does. So now here's the tricky part, or the trickier part, I should say, is from here, I know that the turnout is 1298, because that's what we were controlling it previously. But what I don't remember on here, I don't remember exactly which turnout is 1298 on here. So before I try and find it on here, and actually what I think I'm gonna need to do is go in here. Oh, no, that's not what I want to do. I need to go, where do I need to go? Panel scroll bars, both scroll bars. The reason I want to do that is because I think 1298, because it's up in the 98s, I think it is going to be one of these turnouts here at the very end. But what we're going to do first is I'm going to come here. I'm going to go to Tools, go to Tables, and go to Turnouts. So this is a table of all of the turnouts that are theoretically connected. So Heath in JMRI goes Tools and Search. I know. Watching this is why I'm staying with the keep it simple. So this I think it's just the way I explain it. I don't think this is really that complicated. I think it's just the way I'm explaining it makes it complicated, but it's really not overly complicated at all. So what I'm looking for here is 1298, which I don't see it. Is it a left hand? 12. Was that the number I had it set at? Maybe that's my problem. Let's go here. 1296, see? I was looking for the wrong number. 1296 is the one that controls the turnout. So let's try looking for the correct number again. 1296, it's right here. So it's unknown. It's unknown because I don't have the feedback set up yet. Yeah, so that's the thing. It is definitely time consuming. I wouldn't say that it is complicated. It's just that it takes a little bit of time to learn this stuff. I mean, I'm learning a lot of this as I go. There are great people out there in various different parts of the community that have helped me figure out a lot of this, but a lot of it's just like poking around and just kind of trying things. Yeah, so 1296. So theoretically, if I come here and click that button, nothing happened, and nothing's happening. Well, that's a bummer. I was hoping that this was going to be really exciting, and I was going to hit that button, and the turnout was going to change. But apparently, something is not right. I don't see it changing down here either. I'm not sure what number. Oh, we're having the same problem we were having the other day. And this is so, I thought I fixed this problem. Apparently, I didn't fix this problem. Loconet over TCP IP, I've got the right 5561. Yeah, this was working the other day, and now it's completely not working. And I don't know why it's not working. But yeah, well, I was hoping that this was going to work swimmingly. Oh, look at that. I seem to have I've lost the connection. I've lost the, oh, you know what could have happened? It could be because I have the program. I wonder if it's because I have this program open and I came in here and pushed some buttons. So I'm going to close that. See, and this is where the time consuming part comes in, and everyone's like, oh boy. Sounds simple, like the math involved with designing a steam boiler. There you go. We're going to reload this again. Just to reset the connection, because that's the fastest way. Heath, what feedback mode is set for the turnout? I don't have any feedback mode set yet. I haven't gotten that far to figure it out. And Jub, I don't do a lot of soldering. I am terrible. I'm terrible at soldering. So I tend to use other solutions wherever possible. And yeah, I agree, Russ. I am hoping to get the majority of this layout built before I have back problems that require me to get under the benches. But one of the good things is that that my bench work is really high. So when I get on my knees, I'm pretty much under the bench, which makes it kind of, easier to, I guess do things. But let's see. We've got to change this again. Panel scroll bars, both scroll bars. Scroll over. Scroll down to the bottom. All right, so now, there we go. Oh my gosh. Okay, everybody. No, Thomas, that's not why it's not working. So if we go here now, you can see when I click on the button, you can see it changes from green to yellow. So this happens to be, I guess, the correct one. This is 1296, and again, this would be great if I had split screen set up. But there it is. You can now see that as I click the button, and I guess you kind of have to just trust that I'm doing it, but I'm clicking the button on the panel, and the switch is moving. So apparently the lesson learned is don't use both the yet another model railroad company software and JMRI at the same time. You have to use them separately. So why is this partially exciting? Why was this? What was it about this whole thing? Like why was I trying to 99% of the time, Job, 99% of the time, if you look this way, you're gonna find the problem that's going on. But the reason why this test, or what I got to, was so important is that it means that all of the sort of wiring theory that I think is gonna work is actually working, and that is that was kind of the critical test that I needed to do. Is could I create a panel in JMRI that controlled the turnouts on the layout using the wiring harness and all of the stuff that I wanted to do. So now I can confidently move forward, and since we've got so much time, I'll probably flip this over and show people what's going on. But this allows me now to move forward knowing that I've got a wiring plan that is, and I just lost my pencil in my bin of tools. It allows me to know that my wiring plan is working. The other thing that it allows me, the other thing this allows me to do is, now that I know JMRI works, I can look into starting to use CATS. CATS is kind of an add-on to JMRI that creates a different looking version of the panels. Like, in my opinion, this panel looks a little cheesy. Yes, it works, which is good, but it just kind of looks a little silly. Oh, see, and there we go. It disconnected again on itself. Well, I had it solved. I guess the question is, why does it work and then stop working? Well, now I'm completely baffled, but it works, kind of. I've got it connected right now through the network, and the network connection can be a little bit flaky sometimes, whereas the USB connection seems to be a little more reliable, and I think that's what I'm running into right here. So I could easily just hook it up to USB and know I'm fine. But now that I have this set up, I can get into CATS and see if that is something that I want to get into. And yes, there is a difference in wire theory versus wire practical, in my opinion. Theory doesn't always work. Better operator error. Yeah, I know, right? I know. But yeah, Mike says CATS is cool. The one, it's not wireless. It's actually hardwired, which is why I don't understand why the connection is why the connection's dropping. But yeah, no, I'm not running wireless. This is a hardwired connection, and I bet if I went and I'm kind of curious now, if I try this, I'm wondering, yeah, so this is still connected. This is still still moving. This is still moving the turnout this way, but for whatever reason, JMRI stopped working. Okay, so that works. Cats is gonna hopefully help me make a panel that looks a little better than this. To me, this looks a little, I don't know. It's a little goofy looking, I guess, I think, but we'll see. I'm bummed that that land doesn't work though. Something's going on there. I don't know what's going on, but something is something's up. But let's come over here. Let's take a look at this real quick. I'll show you guys what the wiring looks like underneath. So I'm building a lot of this upside down, and I'm doing that so that I don't have to crawl around under the layout. So all of these sections still can come off, can be flipped over. The only thing you need to be careful of is where the pins are for your turnout motors. But this is a section that I have started wiring. I haven't finished wiring, as you can see, but I've got the harnesses wired into the cobalts with the tail plugged in, and here are the LEDs pushed in through the thing. We can let's see if I can do this without making Dennis. So the LEDs are into the wood, so you'll be able to see them on the other side. And all I basically need to do at this point is use these lever nuts, and I'll wire this all up and then send the wires off to the various control boards that I have and make it all lickety split. Yeah, the LEDs that I got came with those wires attached, so I didn't have to heat shrink them, and they actually come with a resistor as well. These are set up with a resistor for 24 volts, and so the DCC that I'm running is 14 volts, so I'd rather have an LED with resistors set up for 24 volts than for 12 volts, and that's pretty much what you can buy online, is either 12 or 24. So I just bought them because, as I mentioned earlier, I am terrible with soldering, and I don't want to bang my head against the wall soldering. So John 2618 is here. I can hold this up then. John, I don't know if you know what this is, but this did just arrive. I'm not sure when I'm going to install it, but this is an exciting thing coming in. What are you, Dennis? What are you throwing up all over? My lack of soldering ability or something else? So, yeah. Once I get the initial wiring done, I'm not going to keep flipping it over. I'm only doing the flipping over part to do all of the initial wiring. I'm going to do all of the feeders. I'm going to drill holes for all of the feeders, and oh, I just realized I might have a problem drilling all the holes for the feeders. I might not be able to drill the holes for the feeders, but I was thinking about it. But I'm going to definitely wire up all the turnouts, wire up all the turnout control and everything. I might not be able to drill the holes for the feeder wires, but I might run the feeder wires out to where they are going to go. And then once I lay the track, I can just drill through and push them up. So doing this, wiring Wiring with your layout in this orientation is oh so much easier than wiring it the other way. And yep. Oh, you're good. You thought the camera was gonna be moving? Come on, Dennis. You know me better than that, don't you? Yes. What I was just holding up, that is the background that I got, but it's the background for this side, not for the side you can see. So I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to put it up or not. It's not a backlight poster. It's I showed it off last week if you saw. How much of the layout is modular? Technically, the layout can be taken apart, but there are certain parts of it that will have to be cut to completely take it apart. So like this, the section over here, this section is its own module where the frame below it and the bench top are all a separate section. But like right here, there's a corner piece, and I'm going to add this corner piece in here as well. That will kind of tie it together. So I would have to cut the corners. The way it's designed modularly is that each kind of wall section can be its own piece, and just by cutting in the corners, it can all kind of come apart. Yeah, I don't have those anymore. They were on this wall over here. They unfortunately ended up in the trash bin at the time. What is the camera on the tripod showing the flipped section? It's an iPhone something. I have an NDI app, which is a Wi-Fi camera app that's very low latency. So it works extremely well to use as a remote camera. But just to give another example of a section that is flippable, this is, let's get the paint out of the way. So this is a section here over on this side, but then this here as well. And this section I've also started wiring up. And let's not crush any wires here, because that would be bad. So this section here I've started wiring up, and just to not torture Dennis too much, I've got all the pads in for all of the turnouts. All the turnouts have been labeled. I've got half of the screws in, so when I'm ready to put them in, I am ready to go. So now that I've got the wiring harness and everything all set up, it'll just, these will just drop in and screw in, and then, hook up the wires. All the holes are made for all of the LEDs, and I've got all the little acrylic rods in for the lens for the LED as it comes up through the board. But yeah, it's much easier to wire this, being is that I'm able to flip that over like that. Once I get the turnout motors and all of that stuff wired though, and flip it back over, I'm going to lock it in. I will use pocket screws between each of the sections to keep them nice and lined up. Yeah, don't make me say tough words. Yeah, I know, eventually. Why am I using S88 instead of the 4088LN? I'm using both. I'm using a 4088LN as the first one, and then switching to S88. S88 is cheaper, but it does kind of, you can't individually address each unit like you can with the LocoNet version. So the S88 just has the next series of addresses, but it's cheaper. It runs off standard network cables, and it just works. It's pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward, and it just kind of, it just sort of does what you need it to do. So yeah, S88N works, LocoNet works, everything kind of works. There's going to be a couple of these panels around the room of various different configurations. This is my secondary one with a booster, and all of the detection zones and the turnout detection and everything are just going to run back to those. Yes, Jub, there have absolutely been some money considerations. I'm essentially building this layout in two pieces. I'm going to build everything on this side of the window over here, kind of the money shot side, you can say, based on where the camera is. And I'm going to get that side running, and then I will work on getting this side running. This is the main yard, so it is important to the layout, but trying to do everything at once, it's just not going to be really possible. Yeah. Next week we'll be running trains. Yeah. So the car float. Well, yeah. Hold on. The car float is here. Gotta move the camera again. The very first section that I took out had this little blue panel underneath it, and there's an open hole here. So when this flips over, this is where the car float is. This is where the water is. So, yep. Yeah, and so there are 5 locations around the room. Each location is basically going to get a 4088 GND and a 4088 CS. The GND is for turnout feedback, and the CS, which is current sensing, is for the track occupancy detection. And I will not, Bill mentions wiring looms, make sure there's a lot of extra. Once I connect the wiring looms to the various sections, I'm not going to pull them back up again. One thing that I am concerned about, that I want to make sure I'm not going to have issues with, is if you run if you're doing track detection and your wires are too long, you can sometimes have issues with your track detection. So I'm trying to keep the wiring for all of that as short as possible. So once they flip, the wires will get cut short, and I'll screw them all in. The thing is, though, I mean, it's the way I'm doing it. If I need to flip them over again, I could, but I don't really. Grandpa Rails, thank you. It's obvious from the numbers that I have completely lost people tonight, which I kind of expected, but it's kind of the nature of what I'm doing. This isn't really a lot of the stuff you see. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know of a lot of people out there that are, well, outside of Dennis. I know Dennis from Otter Creek is doing it. Yeah, there's still 36 of you here. Yes, I appreciate everyone that is here. I didn't mean it that way. Okay, so this is a good question. Make sure you get the polarity right for the track. Don't do what I did and hook them up on the wrong side when flipped. That's part of the reason I'm going to be using lever nuts, is because it makes it very, very, very easy to swap things if I need to, if anything gets wired backwards. But yes, I also know what you're saying, right? Because when you flip it, what you think is going to be the front is going to be the back, just like I did over here. Let's see if I can get a good shot of it. Maybe, maybe not. Let's see how well that looks on the screen. I will label everything. Yeah, so you can see like I've already gone through and put in the numbers for the turnout motors. I did that um, so that I know as I start installing things that I'm, connecting the right thing up to the right place. I will also do the same thing with the feeder wires. I'll make sure I mark which is my red and my black rail. My black rail is going to be the common rail. The red rail will be the rail that I gap for all my detection. John says, I thought Heath's goal was a computer-driven yard-switching beer industry with a couple of commuter lines. We will have some of that. Some of that will be there. Yeah, he did it on the track. Yeah, I can see that happening. Andy's not an electronics guy. Andy, did you see my schedule? I'm so excited. All these places, all these people that I'm going to get to go see the layouts that they put together. Two of the layouts that I have been to already that are more complicated than the wiring I'm doing on this layout is Dave Barraza's New York and Atlantic. He is doing LCC on everything. Dennis, he uses the MP5 switch machines, which is actually where I found out about them months ago, which is why I actually have them. But Dave Barraza is on the cutting edge of all of the technology, setting up for his layout. And Phil Minot, who is not a technical guy, but knows technical people, has gotten help with the computer side of things. So Phil is an electrical guy, but not an electronics guy so much per se. But Phil has all of this detection and turnout feedback and all of those various things as well. Mr. McTomin, thank you so much for the I'm Still Here fund. I do very, very, very much appreciate it. Do these events have a YouTube channel? No. And because I am operating, I am going to try and take pictures. I likely will not be able to take video, but I can try Dave Barraza's. I might be able to get some video because his is in the afternoon a little bit. But yeah, Dennis, if you ever get out here, Dave Barraza and Phil Minot's layout would be good for you to see just because of all the technology they have in it. I have not been to some of those other layouts, so I don't know how much technology they have involved. I believe David Ramos's New York Harbor has a lot of technology in it. The West Island Club definitely has a lot of technology as well. I don't know about Niccolo or Howard's. I don't know a lot about their layouts. Mike says, I put the numbers on a layer in any rail for the sensors and switches. You'll find that real helpful when you do CATs. Whatever you call this, the thing that's not working here, the panel, the JMRI panel is an export out of any rail. All of the detection zones and all of the turnouts are automatically brought into JMRI through the AnyRail export, and I did that by labeling everything. Dennis says, I mark my board, usually for me, blue to the back is a standard rule. Standard rule. Boy, I'm having a hard time talking. And I can't click it again. It keeps moving. Stop moving. Then mark the board so you always have a visual reference. Yeah. I think what I'm going to do is red to the back and black to the front, which I know is kind of opposite, and it's opposite the way I did my last one. And the reason that I'm going to do it in that orientation is because the black is less, the black's less visible than the red is. So, that's just the way I'm gonna do it. Yeah, I know, which is why I did the black in the back last time. But I'm gonna switch it up, and I know it's gonna be switched up. But I did just post this. I know second section is about to come on, so I always enjoy going over there and seeing what those guys are up to. But I am just very excited about this weekend coming up. I still need to do laundry and pack, but I will be trying to take some notes to bring back so that I have some interesting things to talk to and have a good time. So from the city that never sleeps, go over and see second section. Now I forgot the second part of my thing. From the city that never sleeps, farewell, model citizens. That's it.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.